is it doing this? Come on. Hey guys, how's it going? This is DavidSebastian, coordinator of Mentoring Arts Programming with Wayside. I am back with you once again to do some artwork today. Welcome back to another snow-free day in our great winter. They tell me tomorrow we're getting snow again. That's just fine since we have, I don't know, probably still like a foot out there. Fun times, right? So we go on, you know. Today we're going to be working with a couple of Hanna-Barbera characters. We've been working on Secret Squirrel for a while. We got to a real good spot with that. We created a totally digitally produced pen drawing of Secret, which is here. Got the cutter to draw that for us. It's pretty awesome. You know, really only had one little snag over here. And everything else totally worked out. So I'm going to do, I have a drawing in here that I've been working on, that we've been working on together, right here, which is a full color version of Secret. And I'm thinking I might be able to put that in the machine and double or triple the image. Might be really cool. We're going to see what happens. So that's the Secret project that we're working on. Right now, we're going to work on drawing Captain Caveman, and then we're going to mess around with this other piece that I've been doing. I created this piece of artwork. Well, let me show you the whole deal. Whoops. So anyway, I drew this, well, a bunch of stuff, honestly. Let's see if I can find it. We'll back out a little in case there's anything you guys are interested in seeing in here. Probably not, but you know how it is. All right. Right in here somewhere, I think kind of in the beginning. There we go. So I did this painting right here. It came out pretty good. You know what I mean? So it was kind of stream of consciousness piece, you know, like just trying to mess around. I had drawn, you know, created it using Inktense, and then I decided to switch over to some marker and some paint marker, and I had a really good time with it, you know, and it totally worked out. A good brother piece to this mole piece I did over here. So I had this idea that I just found out recently that the silhouette can draw in addition to cutting. And it's a Silhouette Cameo, which is a machine that I use to cut airbrush stencils with very often, and is an awesome thing for that. It costs about $200, and I feel like a matte cutter costs like $500. I mean a vinyl cutter. If you start airbrushing all the time, you make enough money, you buy a vinyl cutter. Until then, you could use the Silhouette. It's about $200. $29 is the designer version of their software, which I recommend getting because it has rulers. There's a few other things that are pretty cool, but rulers are basically enough for me to to pay the money, because it changes a lot. Now, there's other ways to do it, but that way has been helping me. So I found this out, that it could draw, and all you do is take the blade out and replace it with a pen. And it's brilliant. The only thing is, I thought, wow, the best thing would be if you could replace it with a pencil, because then you draw out all your stuff, you work on it in color, and you just erase the pencil, There's also erasable ink, which I've been thinking about, but initially didn't have that. So I'm using a Papermate Flare, which is a good juicy marker, and it's what drew the Secret Squirrel piece, which is significantly large, and it was able to do the whole drawing. And it did, I went from this drawing to a slightly simpler version in this drawing. This one was using, this is paint marker, mostly Maltao, and ink tints, Derwent ink tints. And then over here, this guy is mostly aqua water brushes by Maltao, a little bit of Wicked markers, which are an alcohol-based marker and are very different than the water-based. I haven't been loving them. And then a little bit, the white and the hard black is Una Pasca paint marker, really great product. This is one of their bigger ones, but this is the company, right here that I use. I super dig them, they're really cool. Everybody should go buy some. This is the size that I've been using, which is about a 7mm, 0.7 millimeter. A little big, it's a little bit big, but I still really like it, So I went from this one to this one and went through a process. Excuse me. Oh. Went through a process on the computer in Photoshop. The first thing I did was scan it in it and then change the mode to grayscale. You guys want to check it out? I'll just walk you through it really quick. All right, so we'll switch to this. Take this away and get this. And do, hold on 1 second. Don't need that. All right, you guys. Hey, dig that Chester cheetah. That's some awesome stuff. Got a million projects going on around here, as we very often do. This is Photoshop 2020, the CC version. So the first thing I did was bring the artwork in, and to do that, I took a picture of it. Let's see if I can find that. No. If you hold Control and Tab, it'll go through all of your artwork. Everything open. Now, I would recommend not having these many things open. It's very, very foolish. All right? Takes up some memory, you know what I mean? So, so here's what we started with. Turn this off, turn this off. So this is what we started with, right? I took the artwork in. In fact, I will just throw it in to show you. All right, this is the original artwork. So that's the original artwork that we started with. So you want to take this guy and you want to go up here to image and say image mode and change it from whatever it is to grayscale. It'll ask you if it's okay that it takes away the color. Of course it is. That's the point, discard the color, I don't care. Your photo, of course, still exists. The color artwork still exists, so, you know, what does it matter? And then you want to go into adjustments, and you want to go into posterize. Click posterize. It's going to ask you if you've already noticed that we've gone from all the different grays to just a couple. The lowest you can go with this is 2. If you click 2, you've already created our first black and white piece that we're using over here. Which, let me grab it to show you. Is this piece right here. So we took that, ran it through the printer, and started to cut it up. I'm going to use that one as one-use paper stencil. And then we're going to kind of go from there. And that was the intention of going through and messing with this thing. So then I'm not going to make you guys watch it, but basically I went through here and erased everything I didn't feel like I needed. Let's see if I can show you guys if we go all the way back. All right, so we paste it in, we make it grayscale, and we go in and start selecting and cutting things away, right? So that we're starting to get, you know, the clean cut where all we want really is the hard black lines, or as much hard black as possible, because we're going to ask the cutter to cut this, and it's very good at cutting simple cartoony kind of characters, but if you go in and try to get it to cut something that has a lot of variation of texture, it's just not going to know what to do with that. So it just deals with it by making it millions of tiny spots to try to create the tone, you know. Last thing I did was go in with brightness and contrast and mess around a little. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it did anything. But that was the process I used to get it here. So then we sent it to the silhouette. And let's see, back to design. All right, so over here to nameless. So what we did is we take this guy, center him up, which is super easy in Silhouette. Silhouette comes free with the Silhouette Cameo, which, like I said, cost about $200. It's a super good choice. I would buy it at Michael's. I'm not a huge fan of Michael's, but I would buy it there because they are forever having coupons and half-off sales, and you could probably get the thing for like $100, or at the very least the 3. The 4 does some other awesome things, but you can get away with the 3, you know. I used it right up till I got this 4, which is probably for about 6 years. I thought it was great. So anyway, we go in here, and we open up our trace panel, which is up in here. Panels, these are all different things that you can use. I've used a few of them, not a ton, you know. But trace is probably what I use the most because, like I said, I'm using this to make stencils. So you grab stencil, what you want to trace, the trace area, and we just grab this dude. And right now we get nothing, right? So that's what we're going to use right there. So that's our cut file. I actually didn't change anything. It was literally parsing the drawing, right? So now this is what Silhouette thinks the drawing looks like, right? And it, you know, it is totally different than our drawing. It's much spottier. You can see around here there's declination, you know. I was thinking, how far can we go? Let's see if we can get any improvements. So tolerance is this sort of the softness it's going to use, or it flattens out, so smooths out some of the lines and that kind of stuff. But mostly it just delineates the lines better, I find. You know, like you just want to have some clarity, you know. You can't have everything be really fuzzy because then it's just not going to work. So so then we see, you can say cut edge, you can say cut and detach. It doesn't trace and detach. I just hit trace. Takes a sec because it's a complicated image. So remember, this is what we started with. And then this guy is what we got out of our trace. This is an extremely complicated little piece of artwork here. Like, look at that thing. I could never have drawn that, but in some way I did draw that. So then there was this idea that the Silhouette could draw it. So I thought, wow, what a great and interesting opportunity. Let's see if we can get it to draw this. Like, this is a super complicated, you know, image here. And what if we could, you know, get it to draw that? So I decided I would try. And this is what we got. You know what I mean? So it totally drew it. Really clear. This is that flare marker still. Totally worked great. Couldn't believe it. So that was really, really fun. So then after that, I was working over here with a Captain Caveman, which is, you know, this character here, if you guys don't know who he is. And I loved this pose right here. Now, it was cool and simple, and it'd be fun to do, like, you know, to make a drawing of. You know, so I had the machine draw that. And this is what we got out of that one. You know, we have a failed secret squirrel on the back, but on the front is a relatively successful Captain Caveman. I wish he was a little lighter, but I just didn't have a marker that was lighter. But I got an idea today of something I'm going to try. So anyway, that was how we developed this particular stencil, and now we have the stencil as a one-use paper stencil. Call it a one-use because it's not on any kind of water-resistant surface. Almost all of the stencils that I produce are on acetate or some kind of a plastic sheet material. You know, I just got some new stuff today. It's really heavy, so we'll try to use that for some templates like circle templates and that kind of stuff. But that's what I mostly use, and so those things are water resistant and solvent resistant stuff. Although I paint with only water-based products, I recommend everybody do that unless you have really good ventilation in your place or you're working outside. You can't do cars and stuff because you need oil base for that. But as far as everything else, everything I do, water-based. So that was the idea of a one-use stencil. Is we just put it down, give it a shot, and that's what we got to work with. And then the idea is that we spray that on, and then we return it to the silhouette and have it cut it again. Draw it again, and have it draw it on top of our white, what we're doing with our stencil here. So I don't know. It might work out, it might destroy it, but what if we have to lose? I have one piece of Bristol to lose. I feel pretty good about that. You guys let me know if you think that's excessive. Oh, my kids are getting off the bus. Oh, it's cute. Hold on one second. All right, cool. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to switch back over here to these other two cameras so that we can take a look at our desk setup. We are back together on this side, guys. So like I said, these are what we've done with this drawing so far. This sketchbook is awesome. I love it. Like, it's been super good to me, but it is a terrible size. You know, it's like just an inconvenient size, you know. It's just a little bit bigger than I would like it to be. You know what I'm saying? So we got to put it on a shelf sideways, and that always takes up too much space. Oh no. There we go. I picked up a bunch of some of my art supplies from my studio to bring home today. See if we can do some interesting and different stuff. Hold on one sec, you guys. I want to switch to UA. This way. There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm still learning how to do the camera stuff. Even though I've done probably 50 of these, I am still trying to figure it out. Okay, so we were just talking about this stencil here. Hey, look, it's Maul. Hi, Maul. How are you?
I'm going.
What's the rumpus? Yeah, I think it's underneath the...
Nothing.
Be careful with my artwork, okay?
Nope, this is Max and Dirty Guy.
There's two on the back porch downstairs, so it must be one that's yours.
Hello.
Say hi, Maul. Look, it's Molly. She just came home from school. How was school, buddy?
Good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
See y'all.
Love ya. See you around. Catch you on the toenail. Yeah. Anyway, so so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna work with this guy. I gotta turn my compressor on for a second, so it'll make a noise. 1, 2, 3. There we go. This thing. We gotta get a few of our airbrush things around, and then we'll keep talking about this stencil. No problem. This little bottle here is a clean out pot for the airbrush. I keep airbrush cleaner in it so that it keeps any of the paint from sticking. The inside of this airbrush, which is a HPCS Iwata, totally awesome. Completely does the job. Have yet to find something that it couldn't do. You know, it's like a really, really great machine. Hold on 1 second here. Hey, what's up, buddy? It's our boy the Mac.
Stop. So
What's that?
Mommy wasn't have to stop.
What? They let you out though?
Yeah, they let us out.
Because you're big enough? I mean, they let you off the bus? Usually they don't let you off.
They let us off and they went down.
I saw you come up the driveway. I was wondering why.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, this is Mac. You know, this is my Mac. He's a good dude.
What's on the bus again?
Oh, there you go. At least you found it.
Yeah.
Well, your pad's right here.
Thanks, Edna.
Sure. Back to work, you guys. I'm like on break or something. See you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. There we go. All right, cool. So back to work here, right? So we had said we printed this out, and we're in the process of basically processing, you know, this, right? So we're going to see what we can do with it. I don't know. I don't always think this is a good way to go, because if you don't like the drawing, you know what I mean? But if you do like the drawing, it's a pretty fun, you know, thing to do, to continue to explore what the particular piece of artwork could do. I guess that sounds a little bit silly, but I think that it's you know, it's cool. You know, it's a cool way to go. Only thing is, we're going to have to figure out the best way to get it to stay, you know, down. It has some of these frilly edges here. Most of the rest doesn't seem like it'd be bad, but these pieces right here are going to be a problem. They're not going to like us. So we got to think of something to do with those guys. I was thinking about maybe putting a little bit of glue on them, and then flipping it over and putting it on our surface I'm going to work on, which is this surface here. This is a piece of Bristol board that I've painted black with, hi Rose, with a, this is, you know, a 4-ounce golden carbon black high flow acrylic, but I put a bingo dauber on it, and that's how I gesso or prepare my surfaces with paint. Works great, super quick. It's not gesso, but paint likes paint, and so I like to put something between whatever my surface is and the, you know, paint or glue that I'm going to use. In this case, we're going to use a little bit of glue. So the glue we're going to use is gel medium, because it doesn't really leave a ton of residue. It's pretty painless. And I think we'll be able to rub it off when it comes time. Drop that thing on the floor. I forgot to pick it up. Oh, knocking things over here. Oh. Sorry about that, guys. So I am using a Liquitex Freestyle 1-inch brush to put our gel medium on. I'm using golden gel medium, which is paint minus pigment. Works really well because of that. It's all we're putting down is more paint, really. And so when it dries, it's the same surface. This particular one dries, you know, this gel medium dries clear, which is exactly what we want, you know, because we don't want to be like, hey, check out the glue. That's not the point, right? All right. I have these pieces back here because you don't it's no fun to have a piece of paper move around while you're trying to cut it. It's a really great way to tear your paper. So don't do that, it's dumb. All right, move the garbage can over here a little bit. So don't want to, number one, there. So you don't want to, get your glue over your surface, because then the whole thing will have glue on it. And that's not what we're looking for either. Okay. Just save these pieces of tape for later. I use a ridiculous amount of tape. I'm using standard painter's tape, which is not expensive, but it's not free. So, So I think what I'm gonna do might be too small to fit her. Oh, that'll work. I'm gonna use this little medicine cup here for just a little gel medium. We don't need a ton. Oh. Sometimes it gets a little clogged on the end. So I just use a tack. Good to have things like tacks, and I use airbrush needles a lot, which I'm sure is right here right now, but it can't be too far away. I use that thing all the time. All right, still a little bit clogged. Gotta find a piece here. Okay. Gotta find an alternate tool then. That is inconvenient. I could not have that. That is an extremely important tool I use like every day. Just one sec, you guys. I'll be right back with you. Damn it. Oh, that's an inconvenience. All right, well, we're going to have to figure something else out. You know it's on the floor under the desk or something, right? That is always the deal. Alright, well, we're going to have to work with it. See if maybe it's just sticky on the inside. See what happens with that. Whoa! Okay. That wasn't the way to go. All right. Hold on one sec, guys. I'll be right with you. That was extremely foolish.
Oh, it's
See?
gone on the work.
It's yeah, it's on that stuff, but
Oh no, guys, it got on work.
well, yeah, that's an extremely inconvenient amount of it right there. But see, thing popped on me, and it's glue, right? So we're gluing everything to everything else. It's a wicked pain. Got to get it off of everything. I'm gonna go viral blowing up a paint thing live on internet.
Yeah. But
That'll be funny,
was to
huh?
be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be funny. Get out of here.
Let's go.
I'm sure it's very funny, Mom. It's very, very
Probably is.
funny. Yeah, I know. It probably is. Oh, dude, look, it's on the floor. It's on my eyelids. Got in my beard. I did get some glue in here, which is what I was trying to do.
Holy, the mask started.
Dude, my glue just exploded.
Everyone's coming. Come on, Sissy. Soon our grandparents are going to be here.
They're coming here?
No, but that would be funny. Molly, come on. Hey, man, what happened? Oh, my glue exploded.
Do you
DG.
want Baby Yoda? Come on.
No, I don't.
Okay, bye then.
See you, buddy. Hope you had a good day.
Daddy, I got on your chair a little bit.
On the chair?
A tiny,
Molly,
tiny.
come on.
I don't want to.
You just walked up here and just let me.
I don't want to.
Okay, bye.
Oh, look at it. It's over here.
Whee! This is fun. Okay, where's freaking my bag? It has to be somewhere.
It's on my chair. Can you see it anywhere else? I gotta deal with this thing here. You gotta jump out, Mom.
No. I'm looking for
Pad,
my
pad,
pad.
pad. I definitely plugged it in. I could have sworn I plugged two in next to each other. I know I plugged Sean's in just a little while ago. Not over here. Maybe I could try calling it. You could go down and I'll try to call it.
Okay. This is that your live stream has turned into a paint explosion.
Sorry, you guys.
For a big explosion.
This is what happens. Iniquity. You know what I mean by that? Like sometimes you can't figure out. I mean, you just see things happen. You know, and you
Even
have to
dog
deal
says,
with it.
what's going on?
Yeah, Rose is over here saying, dude, Mo, you know that long needle that's up here all the time? It's an airbrush needle. I can't find it, and that's what I totally need. I don't know what the heck to do. Because I would never put it somewhere crazy.
Yeah, you would.
I wouldn't. I'm actually really careful with it because I use it every day. It's probably my #1 tool that I use. But there's a lot of people who sit at my desk and eat at my desk and stuff.
Okay, stop it. Okay, I'm gonna go look for my stuff, which I'm never gonna find.
It's got to be somewhere
I
in the
think I know
house.
where it is.
Yeah, cool. It's cool because you don't actually really have to help kids look that much because they usually remember where it is before too long. So I guess we're going to try this. This is a huge mess, you guys. I should have known that was going to happen, though, because that's what happens if you squeeze something too hard. It explodes. So let that be a lesson to you, kids. Nobody but me needs this lesson, you know what I'm saying? So, watching me clean up live must be really interesting. Alright, so the problem is that this guy is clogged. So we're going to try to get whatever clog is in there out. Okay. I may have to run over and wash my hands again because I have quite a bit of glue on them. Alright, let's see what happens. We got it figured out now, looks like. Oh, that's magical. Alright, you guys. I just have to run over and wash my hands. Go, Roses. try this again, guys. All right, so we got some glue here. Where the paintbrush went. In our panic. There we go. All right, well, we got a lot of glue right here. So we're going to have to be real careful with that. And really all we wanted glue was on this, you know, these little pieces that are sticking out here. All right. See, now that I got it all messed up, it's going to be even harder to make work. We're going to try. Especially because my hands are just a little bit damp. Don't have to get a huge amount of a coat on here, just anywhere that looks like it's not going to want to stay. Like we've got a bunch of little threads here and there sticking out. When I was cutting this, I was less interested in what the ultimate shape would look like and more about trying to get as many holes in it as I could to try to tell the story, you know, try to create the character. The only consideration I had really was the islands and bridges concept, which is that if you cut something all the way around, it falls apart. So I tried not to cut anything all the way around, which is not difficult if you can keep the paper complete. That just works. The thing is trying not to glue it to yourself. Try to get some glue all around. Got as much as I can. Hopefully didn't screw up any of the artwork under here. Another piece right here. Since I'm in the process of throwing glue all over the place, that's what we do. Roundabout here's. All right. Hopefully I didn't screw up my brush a lot, because have a lot of good 1-inch brushes. These Liquitex brushes are some of the best brushes I've ever used. They're really amazing stuff. I will be using them for the duration. At least while I can still get them and stuff. Alright, so now we got to get this guy up and hope he's not totally messed up from our glue spill or from gluing him to the back of this other surface, which was a big consideration for me. I was like, I'm going to totally glue this to the back of the other thing. Once you kind of get it in, you can still cheat a little. I'm hoping. You got like 2 tiny pieces holding the bottom of this in place. That looks like everything. It is not at all perfectly square, but it looks like every piece of detail is on the board. These are the pieces I was most worried about. We can try to get a little stick on everything. I got a tool that I use for that purpose, which is called a brayer. It's for printmaking, but it works just fine for this application. I use it for the silhouette too, because you got to get your the surface you're working on to stick to the mat that goes through the machine, so that the paper doesn't move. So that's why I keep it around. That was just a spot there that I had missed. Try to braid that down. All right, now all we needed to do is give us an edge to work with. All right, so now we take a look at our airbrush. What I mostly use, oops, get rid of this glue colored covered thing. All right, so just get some of our stuff out of the way. So we're going to use, I think, an off-white, old bone white to see. We might want to paint on top of it, like I said. And I want something that's like just off-white so that it doesn't look too crazy. One sec, guys.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Hey.
How you doing?
Do you have my pad up here?
I don't. I plugged it on the back porch.
Okay. Hey
On my
guys.
chair. Look at Shawnee. Shawnee's stopping by. How you doing, buddy? How's school?
I hate it.
Oh,
But the good thing is we got Skittles.
cool. You brought your stuff in.
Yeah.
Hey, cool, man. Skittles ain't bad. Now you can sing your favorite song. Eating Skittles.
You're good, G.
Eating Skittles.
What
That's Sean's favorite song, Eating Skittles.
the fudge up?
He likes this show called the Completely Insane Middles.
Like
Stop
a
it.
cushy.
Stop it. That's
Then
enough.
stop.
I'm on camera. Stop it.
I know that I'm here on here. See ya, greenhouse people. Graphic fam. Bye, graphic fam.
That was nice of Sean to stop by.
I like your country.
He's a fun guy, you know. I like hanging out with him. You know how it goes. You know, kids. I can't live without him. Oh, yeah. All right. Cool. So we got our paint mixed up in here. Looks pretty good. I do like a little gumbo style mixing where you just give it a little air and it bubbles up from the bottom. Can't believe our glue exploded. That was totally crazy. Very dumb by me. Not smart at all. Alright, I'm gonna have to get the glue, at least the heavy glue, off the back of that sketchbook. Probably put the sketchbook away now that I don't need it. Let's see. I am forever looking for scrap paper. Scrap material. Here's paper towel. So one of the hard parts of working with white is if you don't see it, that's good. Right? Oh, I'm a dad, so the jokes are terrible. You know how it goes. All right, so we're just going to get up here and give this guy a little spray. Just before we do that, there's a little tiny piece of tape here, which I don't think I'm going to need. Just trying to get this piece of tape off that I was using to keep that guy down while I was cutting the rest. Got a little guy here that doesn't want to go down. Just need him to stay for a sec. All right, cool. So we're going to hit this thing up here. All right. Kind of, you know, oh, that comes off the edge. Thought we had everything on the edge. Oh, well. deal with, you know, the airbrushes, you want to stay 90 over what you're working on, or if you have something loose like this here, you want to shoot it from the back so that it's pushing it away from you so you're not getting under it. That's, of course, the curse of stenciling, is if you get under it, it blows out, and then it doesn't look how you want it to look anymore. So you just want to make sure of where you are. And then one of the other things I always think of with airbrushing is you don't want to saturate this thing with airbrush. You want to kind of head around, you know. Like, one of the things that's amazing about airbrush is that it saves so much time over physically painting. So don't sweat the few seconds that it takes you to go around everything again. Just give everything a good soft coat, you know, and then come back and hit it again. It all depends on how opaque you want your surface to be, you know, how much paint you have, you know. A lot of variables, you know. Pretty good coat. I think we're out of paint. So that is coat 1. We'll just add a little bit more paint. That's another 10 drops, since it just took us 10 to do that much coverage. Seems to stand to reason, and it'll probably take around the same. Same using, sorry, got to count, using 10 drops of reducer also. And then we do our gumbo. Got to be careful with that because you can spit paint all over the damn place. This particular one, I'd kind of be okay with splatters. You know, I think that it'd be all right. All right, let's hit this guy again. Start in the same place. A little air just to help dry our paint a little. All right, that's our hit 2. Starting to look pretty pale on top of our black there. Taking way more paint than I thought it would to cover this area. Okay, a little bit more paint. I'm going to do the same thing again, another thing. Go. All we're doing here is mixing up our products again, mixing up our air paint. There we go. Our gumbo, same deal. You know, maybe we're over reducing a little. Put a couple drops extra. Maybe that's why we're kind of not getting a super opaque kind of look, you know. All right. Let's switch over again. All right. Let's start this one in the middle here. Oh, got to put my cap on. I'm getting a little spit in here. Yeah, it definitely seems like better opacity with a little bit less reducer. Complicated, you know, to figure out a middle ground between not enough, you know, like too much reducer so that you lose your opacity, and not enough reducer when you can't get your gun to spray. Gotta figure that out for yourself, I guess. You know, it's like driving a standard. You gotta figure out your way to do it, or you're not gonna remember my way. Figure we'll just kill the white, you know, which I think we just did. That looks pretty good. Nice kind of light. All right. Oh, we did lose a little piece down here, but I don't think that's too bad. All right, so I was going to let this dry for a sec, but it occurred to me that what if we have glued this down and destroyed our underneath surface? That would be really stupid. But I'm guessing that's exactly what we did. Let's take a look at what happens if we just take some pieces out. Looks like we had a ton of overspray anyway. Well, you know, it was worth a try. Next time I'll think about that a little bit longer, because that was a failure. All right, so now that we've made a big mess around on my table with glue and all kinds of other junk, tape off. All right, now we're going to go on to our next project, which was drawing Captain Caveman. All right. Let's have some glue on it still. Not too much though. One sec, guys. Just need a pencil. All right. So we're going to draw a real simple Captain Caveman. I'm using a tutorial created by the awesome artist over at sketchok.com. Go there and check it out. There is a million cartoon characters and clip art that he could teach you how to draw. Really fun stuff. I had a great time with it. I've drawn, I don't even know, 10 things out of there, 12 things. And they've helped motivate me to draw more cartoony stuff. All right, so our new Captain Caveman is going to start with an ultra simple egg. You want this egg to be the size that you want him to be. A little bit bigger. All right. And then we want a circle here. You guys see that? Let's get a little bit closer. Could have used a harder pencil, Dave. Let me see if I can get a harder pencil. And an eraser, because you know I'm going to screw it up. All right. You see that? Got my little trim pieces here, huh? All right. Just want to leave that open like that. All right, the next thing we want is to, this is a little bit of a big step here. We want to do that. All right. That. 2 little loops here. All right. And a third one. Another loop. All right. And then you take this guy and bring him around. All right. Get in here with my eraser a little so you can see what I'm doing. Been using these erasers on Scratchboard. Ah, jeez, it's only getting worse, people. Then it can't possibly come off easily. All right. Shouldn't really cut off surfaces of your erasers unless they are doing something like this to you. And then you need to get that stuff off. So, all right, we're going to kind of erase our circle here. It's a location key. All right, this is where we want his hand to go. Doesn't matter to me how messy I am because, you know, I'm gonna figure it out. All right, so we got his 3 fingers here. Hoop, hoop, hoop. You want this bottom guy to taper a little because that's where the bottom of his stick's gonna go. The stick, we just go down and up and over, right? And then you just make a little circle like that to make the bottom of a round object. You know what I mean? And you can make this as big or as small as you want, you know. So we bring that around like this, and then we come out here and come down like that. So this is going to wind up being his arm back holding his big stick. I don't know if his stick has a name, you know. Remember the like Thor's hammer has Mjolnir, you know, Mjolnir, whatever they call it. All right, this is an eraser stick here. It's nothing crazy interesting necessarily, but it is something you guys should try if you need it. It's a great way to erase targeted areas. You know, like few of us have an eraser point this small. And they last a long time. I've probably had this eraser stick 5 years. All right. So all we're doing here is a bunch of loops, a little swirly at the end, this little piece here, and then bring this up and over. And then that's it. Simple hand, right? I want to make sure we have the ground here so we know where the character's feet should go. All right, so this time we want to just bring a little bit of stuff in on his rock. Like the first thing would be, you know, to change its shape to a more rocky, you know, kind of shape. You know, we don't want it to be that soft oval that we drew earlier, and then we just want to give it some, you know, some cracks. Right, just simple stuff. You know, you don't have to do anything crazy, you know, because it's already a little on the rocky looking side, you know. So we just do a little bit like that. Throw a little line right there. Wonder if we can get some of this color off with this eraser. Oh, there we go. Like I said, not a huge big deal, but I don't like looking at a huge mess of smudges either. All right, so now we got some on his stick going, his hammer, or whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to kind of tighten up the top of this character a little, give him a little bit more of a hard egg shape. Take away some of our more sketchy lines, which maybe you guys didn't do, but I'm the king of messy, sketchy lines. I've been using Mars erasers for a while, but I think I'm going to get a gum eraser because it turns out that they erase things that Mars erasers can't or don't do well. So now we just want to give the guy some external, you know, fur stuff. So this amount of fur would go one way, this other amount would probably go up there, you know, like this. Okay. Now one of the funnest parts, which is, let's see what we can do to draw Cap's head here, or his face. So first you want to draw his nose. Got a pretty big, good sized nose up here. It's kind of high, right? And then we're going to put, just like Elmo, we're going to bring out these two, his eyes, right? Like, you can separate them or have them together. Apparently I'm going to have them together. Shouldn't have them so big that they overlap the outside of the character, you know? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So his eyes would not be quite that big. So just keep it kind of low. Right. Give him an eyebrow. Right. All right. All right, so now we've given him kind of like a hipster hairdo. All right, we got his nose in there. We got to put some pupils in his eyes. Right. Like that. And let's give him a crooked old mouth thing going on. There we go. All right, we got to work on his other arm. So you want to put a line up like this, over and down, right? And then we just want to bring in his Ultra Hanna-Barbera style hands, right? Bring this one almost up to here. And then follow it back, and it'll say that his hand is kind of like turned, right? And these are his fingers, and this guy sticking out here is his thumb. So I'm going to take away our circle, our location key again, just to know where we wanted his arms to be. Okay, just clean up your lines a little. And then of course he has a cape because he's a captain. So cape is real simple. You know, we just drop it over like this. one windy kind of line that comes over, and then we want a little crease here. Very super. And then we just bring the line of his body out a little. All right. So the next thing is the same, effect we were looking for up top. We want to bring in down the bottom. He's furry. So we want to make sure we have a couple spots that really fur up. And then once you get like to the middle, like under the bottom of his mouth, you want to, whoops. Lost my stuff here. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So you want to get your transition right here in the middle, and then you start going the opposite direction, And you want to try to, fill some space here. Make sure that he looks as furry as possible. He's pretty much totally covered in hair, so that's a good way to go. You can bring some of these lines up, to make it look like there's fur all over him, which of course there is. If you do too much, you can trim back a little. And take out our setup lines too, Okay. Well, I don't know. That's looking all right, I guess. It's always true that you never do the same quality of work that you can do alone when you're live. You know what I'm talking about? All right, over here we got to throw a little bit more of his cape, so that'll be same kind of deal that we did on the other side. Right? Simple shape, just a little bit more cape. And now easily my favorite part, which would be his big bare feet. He may be the only superhero to ever have bare feet. They're chickens. So it's simple to draw his feet, just bring it out here. Draw his big toe first. And just kind of lay him out after that. He's such a simple and cartoony character that drawing his feet is like not a big difficult deal. You just do them silly, but I always start with the side of his foot and his big toe. Any character like this, and then we just bring his other toes in down the side and try to do some kind of overlap. Give this front foot the toe, and you're good to go. We need some heels back here. Again, this drawing was totally developed by, this is from the guys at Sketch OK. If you guys are out there, thanks a lot for drawing these things. They're really fun. And I hope I'm not in trouble, for using your stuff. I do like using it. All right, so the next thing is we need some spots. It's good to kind of give him a little bit of some shape, to show that they're, wrapping around his body and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? And this line over here, this is, of course, an overlap, so it would maybe hide some of the dots. I always wondered why he had a polka dot skin, since it'd probably be made of animal, and then it probably wouldn't be polka dot, because what's the polka dot animal? I don't like where this dot is. It messes with his hand, so we're going to move it over here. Whew. My dog is in here, and she is smelling bad. Bulldogs, man. I love them. They're beautiful and amazing, but they smell bad. Sometimes. Oh, like right now is a particularly yucky moment. So all we're doing here is trying to, give a little bit more of the impression of the hair that he's got on him. To like kind of spread out some of this bottom hair. This is however you guys want to do it, really. It's just pretty simple. Just kind of like make sure some of these lines join up with some of the bottom lines, because then it'll much help to sell his body thing. And then the same through here, like bring the feet up and into his bushiness, because then it'll make it seem more like they're his feet. You know what I mean? Like this. And we'll get in here and erase some of this stuff so that it looks like his hair is overlapping a little. Okay. Again, we can erase our guidelines, unless you like how they look. All right. Another important part of Captain Caveman is the sort of electric stuff he has sticking out of the top of his head and the sides and stuff. So you want to do that. Maybe 3 or 4 of those. You want to make sure they're coming out of across his head so that they look like they're going around. Same with this sort of mustache thing. Seems to be 3 of those on each side. All right, that looks like pretty much done. Now it's just a question of color. So what I'm going to use for color here is oh, not those ones. I like those, but that's not the ones I need. All right, we're going to use these guys, which are Maltao aqua color brushes. They're pretty cool. I like them. And they're clearly labeled, which really helps me a lot. There's some colors they don't have that we need for this particular composition. So we're just going to kind of, use what we got. Oh no, just got more glue on my hands. Got to get this whole little situation out of here so that I can clean that up in a few minutes. All right, cool. So one of the best things about drawing this in pencil is that once we're done working on it with some of these markers, we should be able to erase most of our pencil lines. You know what I mean? And that'll help it feel, better. I recommend, if you're as messy as me, to just go through here and cut some of your lines, some of the scribbling, like I said, which I do a lot of, is reduced to just a few lines. I mean, because he's a Hanna-Barbera character, they were always drawn, pretty simply, like with as few lines as possible, because that's what made them so cartoony, was that they were just really, drawn simply. That's just what made them easy to identify with. Is like, their loose drawing. Or, I don't know. Just that was their style. And I loved it, I wouldn't lie and say I was more interested in the better drawn artwork, like, you know, the comics and stuff that were doing unbelievable stuff. But when it comes to cartoons, this was really, you know, these cartoons were some of the ones that I liked the most, though their drawings weren't the best. There was some great cartoons when I was a kid, like Force 5, which is, you know, Japanese manga TV show, which was totally amazing, and I watched like every day, you know. But not everything, you know what I mean? All right, we're going to see what this yellow looks like. Whoa, that yellow's supposed to be stuck in that much. All right, there we go. Looks like this is really messed up, though. So we're going to see if we put a little water on it, if we can get some of the darkness off. It looks like this guy, both ends are bad. Let's take a look at this other yellow. I had two yellows here. So let's see if this one's any better. Even though dirty yellow might be what we want to use, so it looks like it's a little better. All right, so I don't have skin tone, like I said, so I'm going to just use this yellow. Kind of see how that looks. It's pretty bright. Definitely real bright. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll wind up putting some paint marker on top of it. Okay. Oh, sorry guys. Push this up a little. And you guys out there, artists, and I hope there's a few, you know, it's very easy to get distracted while doing your artwork. We are all easily distracted. So that yellow is real bright. So, I don't know. These are fairly bright colors. So we're going to kind of have to deal with that. Okay. So these dots are going to be black. This cape is polka dot. Alright. Switch back to our yellow for a sec here. And this is the dirty one. So it looks like it's dying anyway. It looks like if we go on top, same. Forgot to do his nose. Okay. We're looking for some dark red. Even though I kind of need brown, but I want to use brown for the rest of our character. The only brown I have with this set is this one. And it's a pretty dark brown. Know what I mean? So we're going to have to figure that out. So I'm going to use red for his big stick here. That's the best thing, closest thing I have. Right. Okay. Now we got our club. It was amazing some of the things he could do with this club. He could fly with it. First time I saw it, I was like, wow, cool. This guy's going to be knocking heads in with that thing. Wasn't a lot of head knocking in, though. You know, he kind of... Somehow he was carrying a club, and he never really hit anybody with it. A little bit of a ripoff, you know? A little bit, you know what I mean? All right, cool. So now invariably, we're with the relatively large amount, which is the brown. Maybe before we go into brown, let's take a little experiment here. Erase some of our lines here. Kind of doesn't matter, but just curious. Especially my really messy lines, like in his nose here as well. All right. A little bit, because I'm mostly going to use these pencil lines as my outlines anyway. Alright, so now we got this brown. I said the only brown this particular set has. I feel like the longer you can make these lines, the more they look like his hair. You know, and that's true with anything hairy that you draw. I was doing a scratchboard Bigfoot recently, and if you go long with your lines, they feel more believably hairy. So I'm not really going for believable here. He's Captain Caveman after all. Okay, keep bringing it up here. These markers are really fun. Their big selling point is that you can leave them uncovered for 24 hours. I think that's awesome. Though at 26 hours, they're dry as a bone. Bottom line, you know, don't leave your markers uncovered because they'll dry out on you. You know? But these guys are extremely wet. In fact, they're almost too wet when they're going on. Luckily, the paper absorbs them really quickly, but these guys are really, really wet. And, you know, some of these colors, like the darker colors, are nearly opaque, actually. Now I can almost not see through it. Make sure you keep your edges hairy, you know, because if he doesn't have hairy edges, he does not look like Captain Caveman. He's kind of like a fur ball. Okay, looks like we got all of his brown happening. One of the things I wanted to try was if you go in with brown again, it adds a little shadow. Not a ton though. And what I'm worried about is it's just going to dry the same. Hopefully not, but it seems like it probably will. It actually worked much better than I thought it was going to, so that's cool. Since at the moment my live stream is in trouble, since I blew everything up. Alright, so there's a good black in there, but this is, oh, where'd it go? What I wanted to show you guys. Nope. Where'd you go, dude? Oh, jeez. I'm seriously losing everything today. Just like always. Huh. Well, I thought I had it right here, but apparently I don't. It's probably with my pin that I lost earlier. That is extremely frustrating. No. Well, either way, this black marker, this is the black marker that you know goes with this set. They also make a black marker which is called the black liner, and it's this marker, but it's a little bit, you know, punchier, a little bit darker. That's what I wanted to use today, but I can't find it. No idea where it could be, since it's, you know, all my markers are basically together for the purpose of not losing them. Let me just jump up here for 1 sec. Just used it the other day with Captain Caveman. Alright. Yeah, not around, I guess. So anyway, this black, you don't have to shake it. It's a felt-filled marker. It's a felt dye marker. So down the middle of this is a long tube of felt, which this touches, and so this absorbs the paint. Excuse me. First thing I'm going to do in our road to darkness here is we're going to put it in this spot, which is the spot, the dots on his cape. Be a little careful with this stuff, because if you don't wait for it to dry, then it turns to serious, like a mess, you know, like you can smudge it real easily and stuff, and you don't want to do that. Try to get this side stuff, you know, bumpy. You know, you don't want this thing to look like he's holding a baseball bat or something. After all, he's a caveman. Anything you want to do to add a little bit more to this? Just add a little silly detail. All right, to the stick. And then we got to take it all the way down here. And the same thing, give it a little bit of a kind of rocky surface here. Now we're going to cell shade this whole thing. Right. So all we're going to do is go around on the lines, the pencil lines that we already made, and just tighten it up. And we can always jump around to anything we missed. You want to really stay away from that black while it's wet, though, because you can pick it up with another marker, especially something lighter. And orange is obviously lighter than black. So okay. See anything we missed over here? Which, yep, there's a few. Oh, jeez. Hold on 1 sec, guys. There. What is this? Glue and paper. Alright, so this is where we're at. We got some of our, got some blacks going. That hand looks much better than this one. Okay. I like to just do the outside of his eyes, because I feel like he's looking at you once you put his eye, you know, really put his eyes in. sure these ones are his mustache or whatever. Just a couple lines to, you know, add to the fur that we're trying to wrap his body in. Right, so that like kind of is slightly more believable. Oh, I do that. So down here, like we were saying, you want to just fur it up. And around this spot is where we want to transition to the opposite direction. So it's going around. All right. All right, same thing through here. Just give his hair a little, you know, you call this a stroke in Photoshop, which would be, you know, outlining your character. I always think of it as cell shading, because everything in you know, animation has to have tends to have a line behind on it. This is when I was in college that was an adage. Today animation is so different and so awesome that I don't know anything about it, honestly. All right, so now we want to bring his eyes down to this one white spot to make it look like he's looking at us. All right. Go in with our Fearless Eraser. See if we can take away any of the stuff that maybe looks wrong to you, or that is outside the lines we were making. Oh, awesome. See, you got to be really careful when you're wiping your hand across some of this stuff, because it's gonna smear on you. So now we've done it all with one material, which is cool. Now we're gonna mess with it. That guy ain't working. This guy I'm using right here is a 7mm, 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter Unipasca. All right, that's what I wanted for the white. Oh, we just missed a few spots of yellow. Being colorblind means you're always going to miss something because it looks the right color. See, this is what happens if you allow your yellow to get dirty. But in this one, might be okay. All right. See if there's anything else we missed. I got like some brown missing here and there. I feel like his mouth is pretty hard to see in there. Alright, you can see it now. A little bit more orange. Here. A little shadowing out of this orange too. Right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch over to a really skinny paint marker. I'm just going to see if we can get a real hard edge outside of the rest of our paint, the rest of our dye, just to give it a little hotter surface. You don't need to do this, you know, like you guys could absolutely stop at marker and do really good, like it looked totally fine. I'm just doing this because it goes over everything, you have an opportunity to do more things, you know what I mean, like bring the character up a little bit more. Good to get a little bit of, a little turn on his fingers because they're, you know what I mean? They're more fingery than they were than what we drew there. A little rounder on the edges and stuff, you know? All right. Next thing is a little bit of extra lines and stuff on his rock. Definitely helps it look a little rougher. Right. Right. So his eyes are really like the most important part of the drawing. You want your eyes to be looking more or less right at you. And of course you want to remember that his eyes are behind his nose. That's important. Oops. Okay. Okay. Very easy to smudge this stuff. Very easy. It's a good policy not to brush your pencil lines off with your hands. Our hands have all kinds of oils on them, and they really tend to help the smudge more than anything else. All right. So that is what we're looking at of our Captain Caveman. I'm liking it. It came out pretty fun. Really like the stick quite a bit. I feel like my head's a little wide. I feel like my head is a little wide, but I feel like Captain Caveman's head is a little wide. Like I wish that I had thinned it out a little. Get the edges. I feel like the paint marker makes kind of a big difference. So you gotta kind of keep it going. You know what I mean? Otherwise it doesn't look right. Yeah. Sorry guys. Like I said, I think it came out really fun. Mostly silly, but pretty fun. You know, the king of noodling, right? That's the artist is always, trying to figure out another way to do it. Like add something. Oh, I missed the. It's pretty silly, but it's absolutely true. I do it as much as anyone. I'm looking at the artwork going, yeah, but I missed the, and if only I could have. not white. Interesting. Looking for just a little brighter white. And that guy is not it. That guy is stone dead. All right, let's see if we can use this again. Oh, I like that. That is not what I intended to do, but I like it. You know what? I think I'm going to get rid of the dots in his eyes. Definitely looks more like Captain Caveman without the spots, without the shine. Tell you, this marker seems to have died on me. He's a gray marker. One more thing and then we're pretty much done. Just want to put back the black lines around these things. All right. Well, that is our Captain Caveman for today. I hope you guys, sorry for my hands. I hope you guys had a good time working on Captain Caveman. I had a great time. This is a cool drawing. If you guys want to check out how to run this particular drawing, there's a really awesome tutorial over at Sketch OK. That is what I totally use to draw this. Anybody out there that's trying to draw characters like SpongeBob or the Powerpuff Girls, My Little Pony, like, you know, a huge number of things. Let me see if I could tell you a couple of the other ones. Let's see. Oh. We got animals, anime, cartoon characters, game characters, Lego minifigures, other, and vehicles. It's totally awesome. They're simple drawings, but they're great. And they're like a great way to get you moving and looking at something. Excuse me. Looking at something that's a little different, you know, and that yeah, it might be fun, you know what I mean? So in any case, that's what we were doing today. I super appreciate you guys' time and coming out with me. We are done this particular project. Tomorrow we're working on the RC truck again. Going to try to wrap up the motorcycle side and lay out the other pieces of artwork that we're going to do on there and kind of see, you know, what happens. All right, so why don't you guys have a good evening, and